What's going on? Mr. Real Talk, your favorite YouTube channel for brotherhood, sisterhood, and an attempt at righteousness. I would like to welcome all of you back to the channel. I love you guys out there. Y'all already know that. Y'all know that's why I make these videos. If you know, you know. If you don't know, guess what? Now you do. Okay? Come on in. Nice to meet you. Okay? How you doing out there? Hit the like button on your way in the door. And if you are new to this channel, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button right now. And also share this video. Okay? Where do I begin? Where do I begin? If you've been on this channel for any amount of time, you know, just like you are, I'm knee deep in slavery. I'm knee deep in captivity. I'm up to my freaking neck and my throat in captivity, right? And you know, sometimes the days can be a little bit different day to day in captivity. Sometimes there's a little adventure involved. Sometimes it's just the same old rigmarole or the same old mundane activities. Okay? But today, right, we in slavery, and you know, the fellow slaves are talking. We're talking about how savage it is out here in the DMV, right? Everybody, you know, just talking amongst ourselves, talking about some of the people that we know, some of the things that have happened to them, how some people, as the young niggas would say today, crashed out. Okay? For anybody out there who's not familiar with the term crashing out, is when a crazy, psycho, demonic savage comes out and commits some kind of crazy act of treachery slash savagery, which will usually result in them going to prison for a very long time or either getting sent to the upper room, if you know what I mean. Okay? We were talking about those kind of things amongst ourselves in the slave gallows today when we was in there making bricks in the mud, making bricks without straw. If you know, you know. Shout out to all my Hebrews out there. Tav X, Hebrews, purity and becoming one. And if you're not familiar with Tav X, purity and becoming one, I highly advise you to hit that subscribe button right now. Okay? I'm fresh out of the trenches in captivity. I've been in captivity all day, early morning. You feel me? I'm sure I smell like captivity right now. I got to, okay? But like I said, me and the fellow slaves were in there shooting the breeze while we in there getting our backs beat open in the plantation, talking about the savagery in the DMV. One of the slaves was telling me about another slave that we know. And this guy was a good guy. Not allegedly. This guy was really a good guy, right? But some nigga out here decided to put his hands on this guy's daughter. I'm not going to say this guy's name, of course, because this guy's from the DMV. Somebody out there might know this brother. Anyway, somebody put their hands on this brother's daughter, and this brother went psycho. Psycho, psycho, psycho. Him and another nigga, double teamed, came down on cuz who put his hands on homeboy's daughter. And when I say they did him dirty, they did him vicious. Okay? Maliciously handled this guy so much that the homie got a couple of years in prison. He's in prison right now behind this stuff. But I can't blame him, though. I'm Mr. Real Talk. Guess what? I don't have no children. So I definitely don't have a daughter. I don't have any kids. But I tell you this, if I did have a daughter and some nigga out there decided he's going to put his hands on my daughter, he's going to get done dirty as well. So I don't have any problem with my ex-fellow slave who got real nasty and indignant to this nigga for putting his hands on his daughter. I got no problem with that at all. Okay? That should happen to you. If you out here beating women and doing all these kind of treacherous things, something needs to happen to you. All praises to the Most High God for that kind of activity. Okay? I don't like to see women or children being harmed. And to be honest, actually, I don't like to see men get harmed either. But I don't like to see men abusing other men, bullying people, extorting people, unaliving people, robbing people. I'm not a fan of that kind of activity. So when somebody who's engaging in that kind of activity get what's coming to them, and you know what's coming to them, I ain't got to tell you that. You know what's coming to them. Won't hear a peep out of me. I'm not going to complain because I know where the judgment comes from. The Almighty. Okay? Just talking about the savagery. One of the slaves on the plantation today was telling me how, you know, one of the slaves he was brutally honest with me and the other guys. He was like, hey, I'm a drug dealer. I'm still a drug dealer. He didn't say I'm an ex-drug dealer. This guy said, hey, I'm a drug dealer. I sell cocaine. He said, hey, sometimes I'll be thinking about, hey, man, why am I doing this? And then other times I'll be like, screw it. I'm like, oh, man. Oh, man. So I'm talking to the coworker, right? I ain't say nothing crazy like that to this nigga. But I said, hey, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I said, brother, everybody got a past. Everybody has a background. He said, oh, like you too, huh? I said, yeah, me too. Everybody got a background. I ain't say I'm out here selling coke or nothing like that, but everybody has a background. Then he said, well, like you was out here robbing guys and stuff like that. I said, bruh, now one thing I will tell you something that I ain't never did. I've never been into robbery. Okay, I'm not a robber. I didn't say I ain't never did nothing wrong. Robbery was not my thing. I've never done it. And here, check this out. The one time where I just got fed up. Okay, see, this is story time right now. The one time that I actually got fed up and I said, you know what? Screw that. I'm tired of being broke. This was years ago. I made a video about it. And you know what? Anybody watching this video right now, if you want to hear this video about the stuff I'm telling you about right now, go down in the comment section. I'm going to leave a link to the video in the comment section. The one time I was going to commit a robbery, the Most High sent a tree. Tree. The Most High sent a tree to talk me out of committing a robbery. You think I'm crazy, don't you? You think I'm crazy, don't you? Guess what? Get in line. Welcome to the club. You're not the first, baby. And I don't take offense to that. Because guess what? There was a time in my life, if somebody would have told me that a tree talked to them, I would have said, you know what? That nigga's crazy. So I get it. If some of you out there think I'm a little disturbed, I get it. But I assure you, as the young niggas say, this is no kizzy, no cap. I'm not lying to you. The one time I was actually going to go out and commit a robbery. See, I told you, everybody got a pass. I didn't go through with it, but I had made up my mind. I was going to commit a robbery that day. Okay? The Most High sent a tree. It's a neighborhood tree that I lived in. The Most High made that tree talk to me. And the tree talked me out of committing robbery. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Okay? Go down below in the comment section and watch the video, The Time a Tree Talked to Me. And I will give you the full rundown on that video. But you got to go and watch that joint. I gave the full rundown. Okay? Why am I saying that? Because this is story time. One of my slaves, co-slaves, fellow slaves, co-slaves, same thing. One of my fellow slaves at work was telling me about how, when he was coming up, he had to stop fooling with a lot of Negroes because Negroes was on that time. Always trying to rob niggas, always trying to shoot niggas. I told you guys the DMV, it's not a friendly place, okay? My fellow slave was telling me how times when they were younger, they would just be out and one of his homeboys would be like, hey, see them niggas right there? He'd be like, let's get them niggas. And my coworker was like, man, I'm not with that stuff, man. But all the other homies was like, let's get them. You know what I'm saying? But my man was like, whenever them niggas would pull that move, he would always just back off. But see, here's the thing. And you guys that's from the hood, y'all know how the hood is. Niggas always trying to get you to do something wicked, right? But because some of these neighborhoods are so wicked, and some of these towns are so wicked, depending on what neighborhood you in those towns, you won't be allowed to speak out without physical harm coming to you. Believe it or not, I know some of you guys might not believe that out there, but certain cities, towns, and neighborhoods where the guys are like, hey, see them niggas up there? Let's rob them niggas. Let's shoot them niggas. Whatever, whatever. And somebody be like, nah, man, we can't do that. That ain't right. You know what? Now they could be start looking at you and be like, what? What you say? And they'll be like, hey, y'all see this nigga? We telling this nigga, let's go rob these niggas. Let's shoot these niggas. And he telling us we can't do that. That ain't right. And because you live in a neighborhood that's very wicked, lots of predators trying to prey on people, they're going to start looking at you and saying, you know what? Maybe we ought to rob this nigga, y'all. Maybe we ought to jump this nigga. Hey, maybe we ought to shoot this nigga. Because who does he think he is? We just told him we want to do a robbery, and he don't want to join us? Believe it or not, you guys, the hood is a sick place. The world is a sick place. I know one of my homeboys, schoolmates, classmates, one of the homies from the hood, allegedly. You know, it was a lot of alleged things going around about why he got taken out when he got taken out. Some of the words on the street said, you know, it was a couple of guys in the neighborhood, right? They had like a robbery crew. In fact, there was a couple of robbery crews in the neighborhood. This was just one of them, right? Word on the street is one of the homies, he didn't want to live that life no more, allegedly. This is one of the stories, right? Allegedly, he didn't want to live that life no more. So allegedly, and one of the other scumbags in the neighborhood, this nigga wasn't my homie. Like 50 Cent said, I grew up around some niggas that's not my homies. Every nigga from the hood ain't your homie. Although I do got a lot of cool brothers and homies that I grew up with, neighborhood, school, and all that. Now, they might be cool with me. That's because I know them. Just like somebody from another neighborhood, they'll be cool with them Negroes that's over there in their neighborhood because they grew up with them and they know them. But if I came over there, they'll be like, who is that nigga? Let's rob that nigga. Let's shoot that nigga. That's how niggas in the DMV get down. It's a wicked town, y'all. Just like a lot of you guys' towns out there. These towns are wicked out here. But why am I telling you that? I'm talking about all this robbery and stuff. That's what we was talking about on the plantation today. All the crazy stuff, right? So one of my co-workers, one of my federal slaves was telling me how, you know, he sells cocaine. He actively, as I'm recording this video right now, as you're watching this video, he's probably out slinging cocaine right now. And he was saying how he was thinking about stopping this, that, and the third, but then he was like, nah. And of course, I told him what I told him. I didn't give him no Bible spiel about the Most High God, but I told him, hey, man, stop. As soon as you can, get out of that stuff, man. Don't be fooling with that. And my other fellow slave was like, yeah. Every time they would be out, one of his homies would be like, hey, who is that right there? We don't know. Hey, let's rob them niggas. Taking people's coats, shoes, and all that kind of stuff with the blicky, the Jim Jam. And my man says one day, he said he thought it was going to be all over. That was at a McDonald's. And my man said he noticed some Negroes hovering around in the back of him, right? Negroes is hovering around in the back of him. And as they're hovering around in the back of him, he was like, yo, something don't feel right. Something don't feel right. So he moseyed over to his man. And he was like, hey, yeah. Start whispering in his ear, hey, see these niggas back here behind us? Yo, woo, woo, woo. And he wasn't expecting what his homeboy told him. His homeboy leaned into him and said, hey, I robbed them niggas not too long ago. He said, he was like, oh, snap. He was like, snap. He was like, yeah, we better get up out of here, yeah. So their so-called ops or the opposition, the enemy, they went out the right side of the door, and my man and his men went out the left side of the door, and they hurry up and hightailed it out of there because they think that them niggas, they was gathered up with them things. Y'all know how it is. Man. But look, needless to say, that guy who was always trying to, hey, who is that? Let's rob him. Let's do this. Let's do that. Nigga got his cap peeled. Blah! And it should be no surprise. The DMV is filled with them kind of Negroes who love robbing people, who love unaliving people. And a lot of the times it ends up coming back on them. And sometimes it even spills onto people who ain't got nothing to do with it. You just around that person. And they're going to come and take you out too. I know a lot of people who've been brutally unalived, be freaking K'd, just for standing next to somebody. I know a few people who've died in pairs. And they're like, man, well, we only trying to kill one of them, but screw it. Since he would have killed him too. I've seen that happen numerous times. Hey, another story for you guys, and I'm gonna let you go. I'm giving y'all all these story times. Look, you better hit the like button, share this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know how y'all feel about these stories. What's your perspective on these stories, y'all? I'm in the car, right? I'm driving the car. This is years ago. I'm driving the car, right? This is New Year's Eve. So right then and there, I'm sure your antennas are going up. Right? This New Year's Eve. Right? Now, I keep telling you guys, for the most part, the niggas in the DMV, they only care about killing. I'm not making this up. Anybody who's on here who watches this video, if you are from the DMV, you guys know what I'm saying. It takes zero point 0.3 seconds for a nigga to want to shoot you out here. It's just even less than that sometimes, right? Over trivial nonsense, y'all. It's New Year's Eve, right? Mind you, I grew up in the DMV my whole life, so I know the savagery of these niggas out here, right? So because of the savagery, you have to develop certain mechanisms, you have to move a certain kind of way to make sure you don't become a casualty. Okay? So I know that. So I developed certain rules and values that I never break, that I never broke, right? But this one night, Hebrew, I broke one of my rules. And one of the rules I always had this rule. On New Year's Eve, never be in a hood. At this time, I was still black, y'all. Okay? Pardon that, Hebrew. At this time, I was still black. So that was some years ago. I was still black. But I had one of my rules, right? And one of my rules was, particularly on New Year's Eve, definitely on New Year's Eve, never go to another nigga's neighborhood. Even if you cool with them niggas, never go to another nigga's neighborhood to even just ride through, to hang out, none of that. And check this. I knew that for years. That's not a law on the law books of society. Every man and woman needs to have self-inflicted laws that you impose on yourself to make sure that your ship runs smoothly. That's one of the laws that I had in place. And that's a tip to any of you young niggas out there, men and women. Y'all from the hood, certain things you just can't do. Don't you be in another nigga's neighborhood. If you're cool with them or not, doesn't matter. Don't be in no neighborhood that is not your own neighborhood on New Year's Eve, or it could go real bad, real freaking quick. So here I am, my stupid behind breaking the rules, right? And when you start getting ready, you prepare yourself to break a rule, you start justifying stuff in your head. So I justified this in my head to this. I'm not going to say what neighborhood I went to. I'll just say that neighborhood is not my neighborhood. And I knew I shouldn't have been there. Just based on that. I ain't got no smoke with them dudes from that neighborhood today or back then. But it's just certain things when you're from the hood you can't do. So here's how I justified it. Because, one of my homeboys live around there. It's not that late outside, even though it's New Year's Eve. And we know in the DMV, New Year's Eve, everybody brings them jimmies out. I mean, on New Year's Eve, don't even come to DC or PG County on New Year's Eve, because it could go real left real quick. Everybody and their mama, they come out with all the artillery that they got, and they let them things fly, right? So here my stupid behind trying to justify, well, My homeboy lives around there now. My homeboy who's from my neighborhood moved to another neighborhood. So I said, you know what? I can go over there. And I said, you know what? It's not that late outside. It's only 8 o'clock. But you know, in the wintertime, 8 o'clock is already dark. So it's dark outside and it's New Year's Eve. Y'all already see what kind of story time this is going to be, right? Hit the like button right now and subscribe to the channel. Here's what our plan was going to be. I'm going to slide over here, right? Because my homeboy lives over here now, and one of my other homeboys is over there. He called me up, New Year's Eve, we gonna hang out and be black. You know how niggas get down on New Year's Eve. So we gonna do that. So I say, okay, here's the plan, y'all. My homeboy lives over here in this other neighborhood, and one of my other homeboys we all from the same neighborhood, he goes over there. He's over there with our homeboy who lives in this other neighborhood on New Year's Eve. It's early though. He calls me up like, hey, G. That's what they used to call me, right? G, what's up? What you doing? New Year's Eve, what's up? I said, nigga, you know what's up. We getting it in. So, we play our neighborhood on New Year's Eve night, but it's like early. It's like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to slide through. By the time I get over there, it's probably like 7:30, 8 o'clock, but it's already dark. So here's the thing. It's New Year's Eve. So if you in the hood, depending on what neighborhood you in, it could be a million niggas outside on New Year's Eve, y'all. A million niggas, okay? We put into this neighborhood. Once again, I'm not going to say what neighborhood because I don't want to cause any trouble for anybody out there. We pull into this neighborhood, right? Or should I say I put into the neighborhood. My homeboy lives there. My other homeboy who was there had walked out to the gas station, right? So I'm scooping my homie up at the gas station, and then we're going to ride back up into the neighborhood, right? It's New Year's Eve. I grabs my homie at the gas station. So we pulling up into the neighborhood. As we pulling up into the neighborhood, I'm like, well, of course it's 1,000,001 niggas out here. It's New Year's Eve. I pull into the neighborhood. It's literally like 100 niggas out here, right? So I'm like, it's New Year's Eve. This is why I don't like going to other niggas' neighborhood. But I'm like, my homeboy lives over here. We ain't got no beef with these niggas out here. So I thought, as I'm pulling up, right? As soon as we pull into the neighborhood, my homeboy got out of my car because I was the driver. He got out of my car, right? So he goes up, he would be going over there to this neighborhood sometimes because we had a homeboy who lived over there. So our mutual homie would go over there sometimes. So he would see some of these niggas in his neighborhood. Some of these niggas in the neighborhood would know my homie is, oh, that's the guy. He comes over here to visit his homeboy, right? So he gets out. He's talking to these guys, right? It ain't no problem or nothing. He's talking to them. So then he's coming back. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to park at, right? Because there's a lot of cars out here. My homeboy is coming back to get in my car because my passenger car door is still open while my homeboy is out talking to these niggas, right? So as my homeboy is coming back to the car and he gets in the car, some nigga came walking up, right? And as this nigga came walking up, he wasn't yelling. He wasn't talking loud, acting tough. He just walked up real casually. And see, this is in hindsight. This is how I know he was the guy who did what I'm getting ready to tell you. He walked up, and I heard him say, he walked up and he said, remember, it's 100 niggas out here. This nigga walked up to where these 100 niggas was at, and I heard him out of my right ear. I heard him say, who? That's what he said. He said, who? This is in hindsight now. He says that, right? So, of course, I ain't thinking nothing of it, right? It's 100 niggas out here, so I'm watching all of these niggas. My man comes, get back in, like, all right, find a place to park so we can go up here. Our plan was to go up here over our homeboy house, right? We was going to play the game. We was going to play John Madden, right? Because that's what we used to do. We was going to go up there, play John Madden with our homeboy for a while, and then we was going to leave his house, and then we was going to go back to our neighborhood, and we was going to finish the New Year's Eve out hanging on the block, hanging in the neighborhood, being black, right? So as I'm waiting for my man to come and get back in the car, he comes, and as my homeboy he's walking back to my car. He hasn't quite made it to my car yet, but he's just about there. And as he's stepping in my car, I saw some nigga walk up, and he said, who? And he said that, right? So I ain't thinking nothing of it. But I did hear him, right? Who? My homeboy gets in my car, and as soon as my homeboy shut his door, I'm looking because I'm trying to see where I'm getting ready to park at, right? If I'm lying, I'm dying. I'm looking, trying to see where I'm getting ready to park at. And my homeboy said, "Hey, G." I told y'all they used to call me G, right? My homeboy said, "Hey, G." If I'm lying, I'm dying, y'all. If I would have responded and looked at my homeboy and said, "What's up?" I probably would be dead, and so would my homeboy. My homeboy said, "Hey, G." Now, because I was always extremely aware of my surroundings. That's why sometimes when you guys see me making videos and I'm outside, you see me always looking around, paying attention, because niggas are savages out here. I'm not going to stop calling these niggas savages because for the most part, they are, right? My homeboy said, "Hey, G." It was just something about the way he said my name. I kid you not. He didn't say anything else. All he did say was, "Hey, G." He called my name and he didn't say anything else. I didn't say, "What's up?" I didn't even look at my homeboy. The way he called my name, I instantly knew something was wrong. I didn't know what was wrong, but as soon as he said, "Hey, G," I just subconsciously grabbed the gear and shifted into drive. And as I'm shifting into drive, I just hear it. Bah, 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 bah. I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 13 shots. Anywhere from 10 to 13 shots. And you know who it was? It was that nigga who I told y'all came walking up and he said, "Who?" He wasn't, "Who?" He just came up and said, "Who?" And this is all hindsight, right? My man said, "G." I didn't say, "What's up, dog?" I didn't even look at my man. I didn't even acknowledge that he called me. The way he called my name, I didn't like it. I knew something was wrong. And I immediately reached for the gear shift. And before I could even shift in the drive, the nigga already started busting. Bah, 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 shooting at my car, right? Hebrew, when I tell you this nigga was about, I want to say 20 feet away. 20 to 25 feet away from my car. And the car was parked until he started shooting. The nigga started shooting at my car before I pulled off. I didn't even look. I never saw the gun. I never saw the gun. I never saw him pull out. I just heard my man say, "Hey, G." The way that he said my name, he didn't say anything else. At least if he did, I didn't hear him. All I heard was, "Hey, G." And something told me, "Nigga, get the F out of Dodge." And before I could even reach in the drive, the nigga was racking off in my car. How he didn't kill us both, I was going to say I don't know, but I know the Most High saved our lives. This nigga was very, very close. Let off the whole clip. One bullet went through my car. Do you hear me? One bullet went through my car. You couldn't tell me I wasn't going to die that night. I thought me and my homeboy was dead. Remember I told you I've seen multiple situations where niggas get killed two at a time. I thought that was going to be me and the homie right there. And you know what happened? When he said, "G," and I just grabbed the little gear shift and started shifting, the nigga started racking. We in a small enclosed parking lot. Y'all, I started driving like a madman. I went from 0 to 100. I don't know how quick. And I said, you know what? I hope nobody, no little kid or nobody don't run out in the street in the chaos with all these shots going off, because I was not going to stop. And I said, I can't stop. And it's Hebrew. Imagine this. Imagine how hard it is to drive in a very confined space at a very high speed when a nigga is shooting at you, trying to brutally kill you. And I'm knowing to myself, I'm driving so fast. I said, man, I better not crash. I better not wreck. Because you know what's going to happen? If I would have crashed or wrecked that car, that nigga would have walked up on us and finished us off. Or one of them other niggas out there would have walked up on us and finished us off. And I said, you know what? This happened because I broke my rule. I know I'm not supposed to go in another nigga's neighborhood on New Year's Eve because shit like that happens. I said, you know what? It would be the one time I break one of my own rules, and it almost cost me my life, Hebrew. You see that? All praises to the Most High, and thank the Most High and Him only that I'm here to tell you that story. And it was just a long, big thing going on. Basically, what this whole thing was about, some nigga out there, right, decided to get froggy. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because, like I said, I don't want to cause any pain or any grief for anybody around, but I will tell you this. It was liquid courage. It was New Year's Eve. This nigga had been drinking. He was drunk as a skunk. So he picked today to be the day. He had a problem with my homeboy, but he wasn't man enough to address it. All these other times he could have caught my homeboy out there. He didn't want to do nothing. But today, since it was New Year's Eve, he was drunk. He had his gun on him. He got 100 of his homeboys out here. This is his neighborhood. So it gave him the courage to go ahead and try to unalive my man. And see, now I'm putting it together. When we pulled up, I know now one of them niggas that was out there saw when we pulled up and they saw my man. They got scared because they seen my man. I'm not going to tell you why they got scared, but they saw my man. They got scared and they called that nigga, was like, hey, he out here right now. And the nigga walking up, clearly, he didn't know who this guy was or where he was. That's why they called him up. And when he said, the dude walked up and said, who? One of them niggas out there called him. And when he walked up and said, who? The nigga must have said, guys in that car right there. And that's when the nigga pulled out, blah, blah, blah. Everybody know how I go in the hood. That's how niggas get down in the hood. A nigga pull up, that they know one of their homeboys is trying to get, they call him and like, hey, that nigga out here right now. And then a nigga come through, rah, rah. Y'all know how I go out here, right? But that's what happened. And you know what's so crazy? Back then I had what you would call a so-called girlfriend, right? She told me that night, Mr. Real Talk, I don't want you going out on New Year's Eve. You know it's crazy out here. I said, you know, it's cool, it's cool. I said, I ain't gonna do nothing too crazy. I'm just chilling out. And then at the end of that night, when I pulled up, and my so-called girl saw that bullet hole in my car door, she was like, what in the world? She said, baby, I love you. I'm not gonna say it, but I'm glad that you still here. I said, I know. You was right. I should have listened. You told me not to be out here in these streets. You told me, but I didn't listen, and it nearly cost me my life. I think, you know what? I think about that every single time, every year. When New Year's Eve rolls around, I always remember that's the anniversary. I almost got snuffed out years ago being a nigga. Okay? I hope somebody has enjoyed this story time out there. Mr. Real Talk, your favorite YouTube channel for brotherhood, sisterhood, and an attempt at righteousness. Like, comment, and share, and subscribe, and let me know in the comment sections what you guys think about this crazy story time. Also, in the video description, there's a link for anybody out there who needs digital streaming TV services like live television. Maybe you want live TV. Maybe you want ESPN, Showtime, FX. Maybe you just want to watch local news. You need a TV service. Go in the video description. Take the free tour. Okay? I offer high definition live streaming TV services at a very low price. Take the free tour and check it out. See if it's for you. If it is, great. If it's not, cool. Hope you enjoyed this story time, and I hope you come back again. Peace.